Hey, happy Friday to you. This is Charlie Johnson, pastor at Shiloh United Methodist Church and Mount Olivet United Methodist Church, and I just want to hope you folks getting ready to have a nice weekend. We do, it does look like we're going to be having rain on Sunday. Now, that will not hinder our collecting non-perishable food items for the Forest Food Closet. And if it is raining, odds are I'm not going to be sitting outside. I'll be sitting inside the front doors of the church. Drive up, I got an umbrella, I'll come out and get it. You won't even have to get out of the car. But we will still be collecting. There are still folks that are in need. I was up there with them this morning and helped distribute, trying to learn some ropes per se. But we still have folks that are still having a hard time with the stuff from the COVID. It's a lot of folks that had their hours cut, their jobs have gone, their businesses have closed, and just the idea of somebody having to go hungry when they shouldn't have to go hungry bothers me, and it should bother all of us. And I don't want somebody having to make the decision between paying the electric bill or paying their rent or having something to eat, if I could do something about it. So I want to encourage you, even if it is raining, come by, drop some stuff off. It is a blessing, and it helps a lot of folks. So don't worry about the rain. I'll be here from 12 to 2 at the front of Shiloh United Methodist Church. If you don't see anybody outside or the crates outside, don't worry about it. I'll be sitting inside the door. Now, since I just finished the second Sunday service, if you look in there and you see some guy in a chair who looks like he's asleep, he might be. Honk your horn. I'll come out. No problem. I want you to know how much we appreciate, how much the Forest UMC Food Closet appreciates, and how much the folks who receive appreciate everything that you do. A couple cans may not be a big deal to you, but it can be a big deal to somebody else. So, be a blessing. The other thing I want to talk about, we got an election coming up. Now, I do my best not to promote. Now, if there's an issue that I think is a moral issue, something that speaks to our faith, I will address an issue. But I don't even tell my wife who I vote for. And I had somebody last election says, well, I can tell who you voted for. You tell me who you voted for. And I said, no, I'm not going to tell you. And I try not that I think that I have a lot of influence, okay? But I don't want to be any kind of influence on somebody's voting that I shouldn't be. Does that make sense? It's one thing to talk about the issues, it's another thing to promote a candidate. So I try, and even when I post things on Facebook, I try to do enough of both sides and make fun of both sides enough that you can't nail it down. And that's good. I don't want people to know. And I don't care who you vote for. I honestly don't. But what I do care is that you vote. It's always been important to me, and it should be important to all of us, that we vote. It's not like our one vote will make the difference, but our participating in the process can help make a difference. So if you haven't already voted by mail or gone in and voted in person, get out and vote. Now, I know everybody says this is the most important election in generations. Well, they've been saying that since I started voting when I was 18 years old. Every election's the most important. It'll change generations. I don't know. But I vote. I take it serious. And so I just want to encourage all of you to prepare to go out and vote. Do keep in prayer the folks on the Gulf Coast, Louisiana, where Hurricane Delta is hitting. Strong winds, a lot of rain. Folks who've already been hit are getting hit again. Just keep them in prayer. We've been really blessed. Virginia hasn't been really hammered by a hurricane in a long, long time. And sometimes it's hard for us to actually understand what some of these folks are going through. A guy on the news last night was talking about a friend of his who lives in Louisiana, whose house was destroyed. They've been repairing it, putting it back together, but they still have a blue tarp on the top of their house. And they're talking about winds over 100 miles an hour. The family has evacuated, but that house still has a blue tarp on top of it. There are a lot of folks in harm's way. I was talking to somebody up at the food closet this morning. She's originally from California. We were talking about the fires and the Santa Ana winds and how difficult it is for us on the East Coast to comprehend about what's actually going on the West Coast. That when you get up in the morning, you hear about fires. When you go to bed at night, you're hearing about fires. And when we hear about it, it's maybe a 2, 3, 5-minute blip on the evening news. And it's every day, 24/7 for the folks who are living through it. So pray for the folks that are dealing with this, but pray for the folks also who are going into the midst of it. As we pray every week, we pray for the folks who stand in the gap. We pray for the folks who serve in our military, as police, firefighters, EMTs, rescue personnel, those folks who go in to disaster situation where the rest of us are bolting out the other direction, they're running in. So as we're facing different disasters in different parts of the country, we've got folks that are preparing to be at ground zero the moment they can. So keep the folks that are dealing with it in prayer, and keep the folks that are going in prayer. They're doing a ministry. They may not think of it that way, but I certainly do. I remember being in Texas in 1979, and a massive tornado came through Wichita Falls. Killed 50 people, took out 20% of the city. I'd never seen devastation like it. I mean, just leveled. You couldn't tell what part of town you were in. There were no landmarks. There were no street signs. There was nothing. And I'll never forget how people came in. The linemen came in. Phones were up. It took about a week. People had lost their homes. The shelter was found for them. People were just doing stuff. And they were those first responders. They closed the Air Force Base so the military could go in and help people salvage what they could. Pray for the first responders. Pray for those guys in the Cajun Navy, that before the wind stops blowing, they'll have their boats in the water and be rescuing people. In a time where we've got a lot of folks beating each other up, we've also got a lot of folks loving on people too. And if I want to be known for something, I want to be known for loving on people too. Keep those affected by COVID in your prayers. Those who are quarantined, those who have loved ones who are quarantined and they can't visit them. There's just so much. And I know everybody's got their own opinion about what's real and what's not. I don't care. What I care about is people died. And that bums me out. So, just remember the other folks. With all the stuff we're all dealing with, there are always folks who are dealing with more. I remember working at the doctor's office, and lady I worked with and I would always remind ourselves that a patient comes in, and we'd look at each other and go, every time you feel like you got it bad, you get reminded how much you got it made. Remember, you got it made. Keep your eyes on the prize. Run the race.